So today I'm going for another walk in the botanical garden, and I would like to speak a little bit about my vintage lens that I use for taking my black and white photos. This is a Carl Zeiss Biotar 58mm f2 lens. So it was built a long time ago. One of the reasons why I wanted to try out these older lenses is because I wanted to see what it's like to use lenses which were around when my parents were still children and see how they adapt onto a modern mirrorless camera. I'm back in the botanical garden, and let's show you around. We're going to walk around a little bit first and then see if we can find a subject on which we can try out this old Biotar. It's a foggy day. I was hoping to have a little bit of sun so that I could maybe show you what the bokeh boys look like. I don't know if you've heard of that, but this lens is said to produce like a special kind of bokeh of a background blur, which has also been called the soap bubble bokeh effect or something like that. And I'm not sure I'll be able to show you any of that today because yeah, it's very gray, very foggy, and I would need some kind of lights in the background. Yeah, I guess car lights would work, but there are no cars in here. So yeah, we'll see what we can do. This was probably a really bad idea. You know, it just happened. I wanted to showcase the soap bubble bokeh that you can get with a Biotar lens, but today is really foggy. It's really gray. There are no bright lights that I can put into the background like you would get, for example, in the evening or if the sun was out. So I thought that I might just use my mobile phone and put the light on, you know. And I noticed a leaf which had a hole in the middle. And then I started to think, okay, let's combine the hole in the leaf with my mobile phone lamp, put it into the back, and I started to have this crazy idea and put it all on the ground. Started to get really wet and achy legs from crouching and trying all sorts of silly things. And then my mobile phone fell onto the leaf. It was just really stupid. So I have no idea if this photo will have been catastrophic, or maybe just to showcase what I've just been talking about. I might just add it to the video. Feel free to tell me in the comments how bad it is. The real reason why I wanted to buy this lens initially was that I wanted to have something a little bit different, maybe a little bit less perfect compared to the modern digital lenses that we get nowadays. I was initially looking into something like a lens baby to get a really distorted or crazy kind of effect that you can't really predict. But then I wanted something maybe a little bit less unpredictable. So I decided to go for something like this. Another thing I really liked about the Biotar lens was the possibility to attach it not just to my Fujifilm X-H1, but also to a full frame lens or even to a medium format digital camera such as a Fujifilm GFX. The thing is that right now I'm very happy with my Fujifilm X-H1 camera, but I don't know if in the future I will want to transition to something different. So having kind of a future-proof lens would be beneficial. And I know that it's quite ironic to call an 80-year-old lens a future-proof lens, but I'm kind of thinking about what could work for me in the future. So initially it's not a Biotar lens that I was looking for. It was the famous Helios 44-2 lens that I wanted to buy, which is famous for its swirly bokeh kind of thing. But then I read up a little bit about it, and I heard that the Biotar was actually the original and that the Helios was kind of a Soviet copy. And as I read more about the Biotar, I actually really liked the sound of it as well. It doesn't have the same swirly bokeh as the Helios lens, but since I was able to find a really good Biotar used on eBay, I thought I would go for this one and just try it out. There are several versions of the Biotar, and the one I've got here is the smallest one. It's got an M42 thread mount, and it was built between 1946 and 1952, this version. It's got 17 aperture blades, which is much more than the ones that were built later. I had a look at the pictures that were taken with this kind of lens before buying it. I had a look online because you can find all sorts of things now. And I really liked the look of it. The Biotar is a little bit more expensive than other vintage lenses you can buy nowadays, and it's about the same price as a comparable lens which would be dedicated to the Fujifilm cameras. But with the possibility to later adapt it to something like a Fujifilm GFX 100S, I find that it becomes a really interesting lens suddenly. Up there I noticed this tree against the sky, and I really liked how the branches looked quite abstract, really like a very complex kind of pattern. So I set my Biotar to f8 because it doesn't matter too much, it's a little bit further away. I don't need some background separation or anything in this situation. So the shooting experience is quite easy. You've got two rings here in the middle one and one at the front. The one in the middle is to set the aperture. Just turn it around like this. Both rings are very smooth for me, they turn very easily. So I usually use this lens wide open at f2 to get a lot of background separation, and also to try to find this special bokeh sometimes when the conditions are right. And other times when I'm not so close to the subject, if I'm, for example, taking a picture of a faraway mountain and the background separation doesn't matter at all, then I go up to f8 or something like that to get the sharpest picture possible. I use an adapter from K&F to use the Biotar lens on my Fuji X-H1, and I use focus peaking with my X-H1 to help me with the manual focusing. Now, if you're wondering about the sharpness of the photos at different apertures, of course it will be a little bit less sharp when it's wide open, but I still find that it's plenty sharp for my needs. I don't need clinically sharp photos. For me, it's more about what the look will be like, and if it's sharp enough for my needs, it's absolutely sharp enough, wide open, and easily up to f8 or f10 or something. I don't really use it closed down at f16 because I don't really need that too much. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the sharpness of the photo. Contrast is great as well, which is good for the kind of black and white photos I want to do. And the flare is a little bit unpredictable. You know, if you're shooting towards the sun, the kind of crazy kind of artifact that you can get compared to modern lenses, you get more flare with this kind of lens. But I find that quite good because it helps your creativity, you know, being able to try a slightly different kind of photos. I really like the, you know, the curves and the distinctive shapes of these ferns, and I'd like to separate them from the background and also play a little bit with the foreground, make that a little bit blurry, and see if that might work out. So here I'm setting my aperture to f2 to really get the most of this of the Biotar. So in general, I find that this is a really good walk-around lens, and paired with my Fujifilm X-H1 with an APS-C camera, it becomes a short telephoto lens. So from a 58mm lens, it becomes something like a 90mm roughly, full frame equivalent. And so it becomes a short telephoto lens, which is really good for the kind of environmental photos I like to take. So the kind of situations where I really like to use the Biotar is, for example, backlit close-ups that I like to take here in nature. So the kind of subjects which work really well with a Biotar is backlit situations and close-ups where you can get really creative and also make use of the wide aperture of the f2. And it also works really well, obviously, for portraits. I mean, I don't use it much as a portrait, except for at home with my family. The one situation where I don't like to use the Biotar is fast-moving subjects because of the manual focus. So if I had to go and take pictures of the puffins again, like I did last year, then this wouldn't be a great lens because subjects are all over the place. Yes, even if you have a camera that takes burst photos and stuff, you might just have a burst of 20 blurry photos with this kind of lens. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the Biotar. If you own a Biotar, let me know your experience with it. And I hope you have a beautiful day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.